Hi guys, Squad here. Welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory. And as you can see, I've been a little bit busy. Remember the wall scenario where I got it the wrong way around? I've been round and tidied it up. And not only have I tidied it up, I've extended it 4 walls high, just grabbed a bunch of materials and got on with it. I've gone all around here, as you can see, and down to that bit. That bit's the biogeneration, which, frankly, I don't think I should have bothered building it. Once we get coal, it's pretty much useless. So I'll probably have to get rid of all that. The hub is outside at the moment, along with the other bio plants. We'll probably need to bring that in-house at some point and just have one massive factory. But the reason I built it 4 high, I did look at building it 3 high. But then when I went to put a sort of... I was thinking about a second floor, and I thought, well, if I go 3 high, I could put it there. But this just... Not only does this feel cramped, but it kind of sticks into that and also would probably clip a lot of these items here. So I was thinking, well, it probably needs to go like in that position there, like that. That's probably where your second floor is going to sit. So it sits like this. Oh, it's getting dark in here. Look at this. The sunlight. We're losing sunlight. Oh my god. Please give me some lamps to put up in here, some fluorescent strip lighting that flickers, at, you know, just to give you a headache. Typical factory. Yeah, so that's the idea of that, but we're not going to build the second floor just yet. I think what we are going to do when we build the second floor, though, just to let you know what I'm thinking, is bringing in the concrete and the copper. I'll probably bring the concrete and the copper upstairs, keep the iron on the ground floor, and then if we need to sort of mix and match, I'll just belt things down and up again. A couple of changes that I made, just to let you know. I put so we've got the limestone going into storage here, and when I did some more belt work in order to do this, I ended up with a lot of iron ore in my hand because I had to take apart these belts. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm just going to stick down a storage box right next to the mine. It kind of strikes me as a good idea anyway, just because it allows you to, you know, let's put it this way, if I break something on the belt, for whatever reason, because I'm going to do some work, this belt can no longer move, and then this mine will stop mining. Whereas this way, at least it's just going to buffer it into here. Likewise, if this went off for whatever reason, or I had to turn it off, I would still have possibly a supply of iron ore in here. And it also means I can just, if I've got surplus iron ore, like I've got limestone now, you see, because I did some work on the belt, I can just drop it into this box and it'll just go downstream. So it just seemed like a good idea, so I might actually adopt that whenever I build a mine going forward. I'll stick a storage box next to it and just output into that first. And that applies to the limestone mines as well. So when we rework these to bring the concrete construction in-house, I will put a storage box next to it and rework it then. The copper, again, we're going to bring the copper into the second floor and do all that, but not today. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on assembly, because we don't have any downstream assembly stuff going on. We've only got screws and iron bars, and that's about it. I had a look at this, and this appears to have slowed down again for some reason. Okay, so that one's moving perfectly. That's a fully compressed belt. That's working absolutely perfectly. This one isn't, and I think I know why. I think it's because the things that are taking the iron here are not of sufficient ratio, shall we say. 15 per minute off that, 15 per minute off that, 15 per minute off that, and 15 off that. So in theory that's a perfect draw, but then it must mean the congestion, yeah, there you go, congestion's here, you see. So although that one's keeping on going, for whatever reason, yeah, this one's backed up now, look, it's full. So, okay, we need to immediately remedy this, otherwise we're just going to be wasting energy. One option is to do it this way, so we could stack upwards. So if we do that, and then, let's see, we bring a logistics, no, organization. I don't know why that's under no, what am I doing? Logistics, conveyor pole, and we'll put that in close and build it up halfway maybe. We'll bring this out of here. This is a temporary measure, probably. We could still leave it, but we can just take iron bars out of there. It doesn't really matter. It just gives it double storage space. So that's another thing to be careful of is, you know, if your floor was too low, then you wouldn't even be able to do this. But Yeah, so this is putting tons and tons of iron bars, and the reason they're backing up is because we're not actually doing anything with them yet, but that will change shortly. Whereas with this one, we are actually taking iron bars and making them into screws, but we're only taking, I keep calling them iron bars, iron rods in this game, same thing. They're only taking 15 per minute, which means we're constantly building up a supply here because demand is not, you know, they're producing 15, that's producing 15, that's only taking 15, therefore 15 per minute are accumulating here. Simple enough maths, along with a whole load in here. Let's get some floor down and then we'll start work on our assembly. Now, what do we want to make? Most immediate thing we need to make is going to be reinforced iron plates, because we'll have a look at the recipes in a second, but they're pretty useful for a number of things. Let's have a look at the crate. Yeah. So, reinforced iron plates are taken from actual iron plates and screws. Now, at the moment, we're making a surplus of iron plates, but not like an insane surplus of iron plates. In some respects, we should probably change the manufacturing over there to produce more iron plates and fewer iron bars, because the ratio is currently wrong. But is that always the case? Well, maybe not, because when you make rotors, you need iron bars. And when you make modular frames, you need iron bars. You need 6 of them here, you need 3 of them here, and you need 4 iron plates. You know, so I can see 7 iron plates and a whole lot of iron bars. So maybe we've done the right thing. We've got the screws, so we've got the iron plates, so we can go ahead and make an assembler for that. In fact, we can assemble all of this stuff. The trick really is working out the ratios for these things, and that's where it gets a little bit tricky, because you know, you've got to sit down and just scratch out some numbers on paper, which I'm not going to do today. I will at some point. You know, there's always people on the internet work these things out as well and post them in wiki pages. So if you're really lazy, you can just look that up. They did the same thing with that Factorio. Like, some people just did the most insane analysis on production rates. Hate it when it does that. So we've got, I'm going to leave some space there. I don't want to encroach too much on that. We'll probably start our assemblers probably down here, just so we've got room to merge and later on do other bits and pieces. It doesn't make any sense. Even that, I would suggest, is too close. Probably want the assemblers down here. So let's go for production. We'll bring an assembler in. I don't have enough. What do I want? Don't tell me I need. Oh, I need actual rotors. Okay. Rotors and reinforced plates, which is something we're going to have to manually make. So an assembler needs 4 rotors. Okay. So I think we're going to want 3 assemblers. So we'll make 12 of these. Like that. And reinforced iron plates. So make a bunch of those. Maybe like 24 or something. Okay, right. That should let us make a start. Assembler. Right, spin it that way. So you can see it's going to have 2 inputs, and this is why it becomes more important just to have a bit of breathing room. Not only before it, but just kind of around it, really. So I'm not going to be... Oh, cables, can you believe it? Please give me the intermediate products rather than having to run back and pick things up. So annoying. It's actually annoying. Right, let's put that. Plenty of concrete, so... Oh, damn. You just look 2 pixels to the left and you end up building something completely different. It's just ridiculous. Right, so we're going to leave plenty of room like that between these assemblers. I don't want to get too close. Now, let's think about what we're going to make first. I think this one's going to make reinforced iron plate. And this needs iron plates and screws to do it. This one's going to need bars and screws, and this one's going to need plates, reinforced iron plates and bars. So this one needs to go downstream of the reinforced iron plates. But looking at this, screws and bars is probably best for this one, because lo and behold, we've got lots of screws here and lots of bars here, so that would seem like the ideal place. In some respects, it should probably go just a touch further down. So maybe we should actually... It probably looks like I'm leaving way too much space, but in my experience of these kinds of games, you always think you've left way too much space, and then, lo and behold, you haven't. Let's get rid of this junk. It's a tree squirrel, what do you mean junk? Oh look, Photoshop's updated. Thanks, Adobe! Honestly, I updated my Photoshop 2 days ago. No word of a lie. Like that. Yeah, so if we basically... Now, the other thing to bear in mind is this space here is not limitless, because if you actually look at the factory now, it's not that far off what looks like it's going down into a valley, so we may have to sort of start going that way, or maybe even that way, or just up. That's the alternative. Move both of these. Let's get an assembler. So we want to be after this thing, ideally. Let's go in the middle like that. And this one can go like that. Right, you're going to be doing reinforced... No, is that what we said? No, you're going to be doing rotors. And you are going to be doing reinforced iron plates, and then the frames are going to be done further down. Now, in all cases, we're going to want to output into a buffer. I just like the idea of doing that. I think it's just a good practice. So we'll build storage containers after each one. We'll build them fairly close. Just line it up. It's weird. It's like snapping into one, but not the other. There we go. Just trying to get these things lined up, really. So we'll do normal conveyor out of there. We'll do normal conveyor out of there. We're going to have power poles down. Can't afford it because we don't have any copper wire. Ah, don't tell me I'm going to have to run all the way up to the copper. Oh my god. Do I? Oh, phew. I'm carrying around a copper ingot like a boss. Look at that. How useful is that? Just keep one bar of, like, one ingot of each type and you can pretty much make anything. So useful. Right, we want to have power there, and we'll have... I should have the power on the right side. Have over here like that. That's going to connect into this thing. That's going to connect into that one. And this will connect to there. This will connect down to there. And I see no reason why we wouldn't do that. Right, so this is going to take, and this is where it gets interesting, 132 screws per minute. And the other one takes 18 rods per minute. That's going to produce 6 rotors, so 132 screws per minute. Now, the best way of doing that is going to be to do Mark II conveyor belts out of the screw thing, which is here. Now, we could just convey straight over there, but I think we'll probably try... Let's have a look at this. We'll probably go up. So I think what I'll do is I'll make another container on top. Turn it around that way. And we shall go upwards. On the floor. That way we've... You know, if we actually increase production, which may happen, at least then we're not going to be running out of storage space, but also because I would like to keep the belt up as high as possible before it eventually comes down into this thing, just so that we can, you know, move around the factory a little bit easier. In fact, you could even elevate this thing, but then you'd ruin your second floor, so it's probably best to do it this way. Now, we only have this single, in terms of a wall, we've actually got a wall conveyor too. So we could, you know, if I'd have built that lined up, actually that would have lined up beautifully, wouldn't it? Look at that. If I'd have lined that up to a square, we could have built that up a floor. Do you know what? I really wish I'd have done that now. If we'd have lined that up a bit better. Ah, I just learned something. Let's see. We'd have to disassemble this and then probably reduce the gap between those two. I think it's worth doing. 1 second, won't take a second. It's worth trying. For science. So what I want to do is basically we'll have a wall arch. Let's see where that is. Can we get the belt from there to here? I think we can. We have an arch like that. And then we have an arch like that. And then we put the assembler such that we can drop a conveyor down to it. So let's say like that. And in theory, we can do this. That looks quite snazzy. Now if we do that, yeah, there you go. There you go. That's about as out of the way as you can make it. So if we align these assemblers up, which unfortunately means we're going to have to take this one apart as well. No doubt I'll want to do a similar thing. So we'll have to build that. Well, that's okay. Hello. So we'll replicate that here. Move that out of the way. For some reason that didn't assemble. Walls like this. Conveyor wall 2. That. And then align the assembler up. That one. There you go. So all it's got to do now is feed these walls with stuff. Just to be nice and neat and tidy, we'll probably put that there like that. And then maybe just a standard wall. There you go. I mean, this could be, you know, later on this could be a different wall. It doesn't matter. That's fine. We can work it all out. So we've got the screws going in there. We need to get the... I need to reset this thing, actually, don't I? So this is going to be the rotor production. I'll just quickly move this. In fact, we'll probably move this now to here. In between the belts. So it's nice and convenient. Even more out of the way. And then that can link to that. Okay, I've not got enough material, I think. Encroaching on clearance. Oh, it doesn't like that wall. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So we just need to come sideways. That's fine. So build up the floor first. Yeah, I just want to go through that wall now, which is okay. We'll just build that there. Okay. That's all powered, I think. No? Oh, that's flashing because I haven't set it, I think. That's going to be reinforced iron plates. Yeah, okay, it's flashing yellow now. So the only thing left is to put down the storage containers like that. And we'll just line that up. Straighten that. Turn that round. And line that up. For some reason, this second one is really hard to line up. There you go. Okay. So we know what our inputs are. We know what we've got to do now. That's all set. They're both powered. Looks quite tidy as well, doesn't it? So screws going in there. Iron rods is the next thing, which are going to come from here. We could simply belt them straight over, but I think I will probably help along the way. A little bit of guidance in the form of a conveyor pole. That's going to be at that level, isn't it? Oh, come on, game. Really? Don't do this to me. That was so... It's going to have to go there, isn't it? Let's just check that one fits before we connect the other one. There we go. Alright. There we go. That's not so bad. So, the belt is running the wrong way. Or is it? Oh, it's the underside I'm looking at. I was like, the belt is running the wrong way. It's a conveyor belt. The underside goes the other way. So this has got power. Actually, let's check power draw. Yeah, definitely going to need another generator. Otherwise, the whole lot's going offline. So that should start getting its iron rods any second. Let's go on here. Here it comes. Screws. What I don't know is, does this go up as soon as the machine comes on now? 1 second. This may trip it if it does. Yes, I called it. Oh my god. Right, so what we're going to do is put that onto standby and then just turn the power back on. There we go. Right, so, you know, we've got it set up, but I'm going to have to build another generator before we can actually use it. But that's fine. So this one demands screws and iron plate. 120 screws per minute. And this needs 132 per minute. Yeah, you know what I said to you about making more screws? That's definitely going to be a thing. And also, this output belt is going to have to be a Mark II belt. We can't have a standard conveyor belt because this will only feed 60 a minute into this thing. And it's going to take 132, most likely, if we can keep up the iron rod, which I think we can. So we're going to need to manufacture 132 for that per minute, plus 120 per minute. Yikes. That's like 152 a minute. 152 a minute. What's this chucking out at? 90. So really, we need to have 2 of these on the go. And probably feeding into, probably merging it into this stack. And then, yeah, conveyor Mark II and it out over here. We're going to have to split those screws. Bring them over here. So we'll probably have to split them like... Actually, how am I going to split them up there? This is going to be interesting. I'm going to split them at the elevation. You have to build a false floor to do that, because I can't build a splitter in mid-air, can I? Didn't think of that in this design. It's a cute design, but I didn't think about that. Can't build... Oh, no, actually, maybe you can. 1 second. Maybe you can build floating splitters. I presume when we build Mark II conveyors, the, blimey. Well, I just learned something else. You can build a floating splitter. I don't know whether I like that or not. I mean, it's really cool, but this kind of floaty thing Kind of worries me slightly. Yeah, I wonder when we have Mark II belts if this thing becomes a Mark II as well. So now we're going to need to somehow get from there to there. That's what we're going to have to do. Somehow this is going to have to... Oh, wow. Okay. Ah, ooh, ah, oh. I don't know how I feel about that. Yikes. Yikes. I mean, it... Oh, man. The game allows it, but... Oof. Can't get through that gap. Can't even crouch, look. I can't get over it, can't get under it, but you can see what's going on. Oh, man. If I was a purist... Right. Iron plates is the only other thing. Which is what this demands. And then we'll have to upgrade the power before we can turn it all back on. Iron plates and screws. Screws it's got, but nowhere near at the rate it's going to want it. But we're going to have to sort that out with Mark II stuff. Let's see if we can ramp this up. Actually, we could perhaps do a similar thing here, you know. In fact, let's do that. Let's put the conveyor pole... like that, and then that can go... I mean, it looks lovely and tidy, but unfortunately the screws are nowhere near at the right rate at the moment. But I'm going to have to go down there and build another generator, which is annoying because to build a generator, we need 3 modular frames, 4 rotors, and a whole bunch of cables. So I'll build that stuff and we'll run down there and quickly build another generator and switch all this on. Right, got the bits. Just going to line this up. There we go. So if you want to build any more of these things, then we're going to have to build out that way, and also we're going to have to sort out the coal consumption as well. We're going to have to split the coal twice, basically. Because as it stands, we wouldn't be able to deal with it. Why can't I not connect that in? Okay, it doesn't like the position of this. Why don't we just put this down here? Oh my god, I haven't got a cable. It's not that, I haven't got a piece of cable! No! Like one poxy cable! Wait a sec, please tell me we've got enough for a crafting bench. Oh. I should probably just leave a crafting bench here, you know. On the grounds that it's actually useful. Those times when you actually... So what? Actually, you know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to leave it here. Just going to put it there like that. Because I know that we'll be back here and we'll need to do that. So, let's build... Connect that to that, connect that to that, connect that to that. Just thinking I actually made too many connections, really. We don't technically need that one. Because that's going through there, and so on. So now, if I look at our production capacity, it should 150 megawatts. Nice. I also found a little power slug thing on the way over, and I spotted another one on the hill. But to get to it, either means building one of those springy things. Here, you see it there? Either means building a springy thing or building a bunch of platforms over, which I can't be bothered doing right now, so we'll have to come back for it. But, you know, we're going to pretty soon going to have to start using... Look at this game. We're going to have to start using those shards. It's another one. Because we're going to have to start boosting. Oh boy. Boosting either the power generators, which is quite likely, or boosting the mining. Because of course you can run off and start belting in another supply of iron, or you can boost the one that you have. Two options really. But for now we should have plenty of headroom to turn on these assemblers, which are taking a lot of power. It's so nice not having to chop down trees and burn biomass, gotta say. That's going to give us production of everything except the frames. We need to build frames. But for now, this will help us, because if you look top right, we need to build rotors. And let's turn that back on. Turn that on. That's already doing stuff, actually. Yay! Right, so if you look at the numbers of this thing, you can see, as expected, it's going to be slowed down, waiting for screws to come in very, very slowly. Really slow screws, because they're only getting them in. The belt's getting split badly, and the belt is slow. And we're not making enough screws anyway. So we've got like a multitude of issues here, but at least we're producing stuff, but it's not efficient. What we need to do is get the Mark II logistics, the thing in the top right, which with this thing's help, and this thing's help, we can pretty much do, because we only need 20 reinforced plates, and this is going to make 20 in any second now. Then we need 20 of those, and we need a bunch of copper wire. So what we can do is we can either make some of this stuff ourselves, or run up and grab the copper wire. Actually, we'll grab the copper wire from where it's being made. What we'll do is we'll make these rotors, because they're going to take quite a while to make in that machine, and we should have enough for the reinforced plates already. So that's made, let's see, 12 rotors. To make more, we need screws and iron bars. We'll grab a bunch of screws out of the storage and make them. We can easily unlock this, and then we can upgrade these belts, and that's going to help massively. I just grabbed enough. I don't know why I just grabbed a lot of screws. That's entirely the wrong thing. Let's put some of these back. Iron bars I want. There we go. So yeah, then we can get the belt too, then we come back and sort out the belts. And that will be a lot quicker manufacturing. 220, there we go. 20 motors, rotors I should say, motors are different, we can't make those yet. Done. And 20 of those. They do take a bit of time to make these end products, so it is nice just having them being made, even though it's not efficient yet. 3 stacks of copper wire from our copper, and this is another reason that we want to get the copper and the concrete on the second floor, because right now it's being made off-site, and that's not convenient at all, because I'm going to have to run all the way across the countryside just to go and get some copper. And that's not what we want at all. I swear these trees keep going back. The bushes and the trees, the vegetation just seems to spawn back in, I think. I think this is all stopped because it's probably full. So you know what I'm going to do now. Oh yeah. What you don't want is... What? How does that work? You don't want his production at a standstill. I don't know why it's being weird. One, two, three. Yeah, you don't want production at a standstill. I think those containers are incredibly useful. Just buffering stuff makes sense, because you always get issues along the way, like power drops or disconnected things, or just refactoring work that you need to do, and having production carry on into a container just makes a ton of sense. This hub needs to come inside, the workshop needs to come inside. Let's see. Sacrifice to the gods. 1, 2, 3, done, and Where are you? $1,500. Mark II belts.
Milestone reached. We encourage you to consider more verticality when it comes to factory logistics to streamline short-range transportation.
Right, jump pads, possibly useful. Object scanner, great for when we go adventuring. Walkways, probably going to need pretty soon. So it's one of these two, really. Doesn't really matter which we do. Can always change it later anyway. Okay. Let's jump back then. I will bring all that in store at some point. I haven't decided where it's going to go. So I've got a bit of work in the factory to do. We've got loads of space though. Look at this. Loads of space. Future upgrade possibilities are real. And we've not even gone to a second floor yet. This screw's going to need doubling here. We know that. But now, if we look on here, we've got the conveyor pole stackable. Which basically means conveyor pole with fixed size that is stackable. That allows you to have two belts, one running on top of each other. Which is incredibly useful. Not in this situation, because I don't think it will go that high. Let's check this, actually. Actually? Whoa, I did not know that. That's just solved our problems. Well, solved some of them. First of all, we're going to disconnect this, right? Because we're going to have to upgrade this to Mark II anyway, and I'm going to have to... I just don't like this. It's going to have to get reworked. Likewise, this is going to have to become Mark II. Now, the screws that we just picked up, we're just going to dump back in there. So now when we build... At the moment, I've got, on the hotbar, I've got 3 for... let's bring up this. Conveyor belt I've got on 3. I'm going to put this on 4, put this on 5, and this on 6. There we go. So if I press 4, it's going to give us the Mark II belt. Can't afford it, need reinforced. Now you see why we're going to need a lot of this stuff. Oh, that's going to take so much. It's going to take 7 just for that small piece of belt. Oh my god. Let's see. Reinforced iron plate's going to need screws. Well, we have screws for days over here. Reinforced, there we go. Let's make a bunch of these, then we just make a load of Mark II belt. Then we can finish this off ahead of upgrading the screw production. How many is that? 29, 30. Let's keep going. Let's make a bunch of them. That small piece of belt was taking 7, so I think we're about to eat a lot of these. Well, I'd like to have these in the hundreds, basically. We're going to have to increase production of those a lot, I reckon. Okay, so let's try that again. That's going to take 7 reinforced. Now, this goes at 120 per minute. You can see straight away it goes a lot quicker. So that's going to move goods around a lot faster. No point doing anything with this yet because this can't make it any faster anyway. But what I'd like to do is just quickly, now we've got that extra belt doodad, is the stackable, is turn it around like that. Actually, I wonder how shallow that'll be able to go through there. Let's see what it thinks about that. Can we go from there to there? Yes, we can. So can we go from there to there? It takes 11 of those things. Jeez. Now, splitter. If we put the splitter as far back that way as we can, to give us more room. can we then... Yes, 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 yes. This is working nicely. All right. I'm a lot happier about that. And this is actually a ladder, so we can actually go up and inspect things. Oh, and fall off. Contact health and safety. Right. So I think you understand what we've done. So we've made this super fast, going up to there. We're then splitting it. Now, obviously, at the moment these are pretty stacked, but this, as soon as they empty down, which they will fairly soon, then this won't be as stacked as it would otherwise be. But the belt could take 120 items per second, per minute. That's obviously going to get split into two, so that's going to get 60 down each line here, which is what it's getting. So it's a nice constant flow coming in. So it means that we probably just doubled the rate that this thing's making things, but it's still not efficient. It's still not getting 130 yet. Actually, it probably is temporarily, but the stock in this will be going down. There you can see it's just going. It's going to go down, 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 because we need to make another one of these and feed this monster with even more screws. But now we should have a reasonable throughput of rotors. Is it? Is it rotors? Yeah, rotors and these things, which are pretty important, reinforced iron plates. I wouldn't mind another one of these at some point, because you can see, look at the rate these things come off the production line. It's just unbelievable. Look how bad, look how slow that is loading. 5 per minute. 5 per minute. And we're going to need a lot of those. So that is just not acceptable. But the design is pretty decent. It just needs to have a higher throughput. I like what we've done the factory so far. It's looking good. I think we're going to have to leave it there, guys. And, yeah, we're going to have to up the production of all of the screws and get things... we've got the basics. We need to go downstream next and start building out the final item that we can build, which is the modular frame, because we're going to need to start building those in some kind of capacity. But at least just having reinforced iron plates and the iron rods, we can actually make them fairly quickly ourselves. So I'm not overly worried about that, because if we craft them like that, it doesn't take that long. But obviously the next tier down, the next Tech 4 will require modular frames without a shadow of a doubt. But it's all starting to come together and I'm quite happy where things are at. So yeah, give me a like if you enjoyed the video. Until the next one, take care. Happy manufacturing.